Welcome to Tropical Down UK. I'm going to give you a little winter tour of the garden. It's a very messy update, but I'll give you some shots of what's growing in terms of evergreens and what my plans are for later on in 2025. So as we walk down the side alley at the back of my house towards this messy planter here, I'll take you on a tour from essentially the highest point down to the lowest point down there. The whole garden is only 10 meters from the house here down to that fence over there, and is about 7 meters from this fence over to the other side. It used to be a double gravel driveway, and I had it all excavated and then rebuilt and started the planting. So it's a small garden, but it's basically got a 2 or 3 foot slope from the very top here down to the bottom, which I've tried to lean into. So at the top here is a planter that I built a couple years ago. Used to be full of this Sassapalmata nebulosa, but it tried to escape, and this is an open bottom, so despite it being fairly deep, the rhizome was trying to get out the bottom here, so I had to remove it all. The plan is essentially to put an Aralia alata at the back. I have a Trachycarpus princeps Nuform hybrid which I want to put next to it, and then probably something a bit lower down in that corner. This Acer was something that was at the house when we moved in 2018. Been kind of growing slowly. I think it's a purpureum of some kind. It's okay, suffers a bit of wind damage and dry leaves, might be some root issues. And then I have this very narrow but fairly deep bed which also acts as a retaining wall at the very top. I have a camellia that's slowly steady growing away and a few ferns in there. Currently using my old Christmas tree as mulch to protect this banana, which is here. Fatsia japonica just here, which is 2 or 3 years old now. It's growing pretty well. We'll start to fill in this space quite nicely. This will be a new area here just behind this fence that I built. I'm not sure what to put in here yet. Probably some climbers to go up this fence once I finish painting it. And then I also have this metal arch here which has some Clematis armandii on it and a climbing rose which will come into flower in the summer. I'd quite like to put something else in there as well next to this fern to climb up here, so it really feels like you're going through sort of jungly arch at this point. So just looking back there, this is the sort of top portion which has plenty of mess on it and needs tidying up for the summer. I'd really like to put some kind of winding path in here maybe. Challenges I've got is that you need access to the windows for cleaning in the house, and I do have my main water pipe runs under here as well, so if I start messing around with raised beds and rocks and all sorts, then that could be a problem down the line if I ever need to do anything with the water. I created this bed here last summer. There's a bit of a division between what will be the lawn space there and this path, which is a mixture of porcelain and gravel. This raised bed was the first thing I really built during COVID, made out of 4 foot long sleepers. It's well drained, so it's great for plants that need that kind of drainage. I have to keep topping it up with organic matter. Got an azalea in there and a fatsia in there as well. And then I also have cherry laurel. Not a big fan of huge cherry laurel hedges, but these grow really quickly, and I'm just using it as a single specimen to create a canopy which will hopefully come over the path eventually and provide shelter from the horrible westerly winds that come through all this fencing here. I have a cordyline which is now in its 2nd year and it's growing really quickly. It flowered in the 1st year, so it's divided into 4 heads. I have a bamboo here which was given to me by a friend, and it's sort of slowly grown. It's a form of Phylostachys aurea, I think, sort of standard thing you'll get in either supermarkets or B&Q and those kind of places. In here I have a couple of Photinia camelvies, which in theory grow a little bit narrower and a bit taller. I also have a Paulownia there, which I'm hoping to basically fill this bed up to create a narrow walkway down here so that you've got that immersion into a kind of jungle environment. Here's a better look at the retaining wall, which is a number of 50mm deep, almost like scaffold boards really. They're 6 inches wide, and they've got posts in front of them going well into the ground to retain that soil up there. This will be lawn again. It has been previously, but last summer I put the kids above ground pool on it. Little tip, if you want to kill a lawn pretty successfully, put 7 tons of water on it and leave it for a few months and that will do the job. So I reseeded it quite late, admittedly, in November, but it is coming through. It drains reasonably well. There's about a foot of topsoil, and below that is solid clay. So if I just come across here now to the corner, this is probably the wettest patch in the garden because everything drains from next door down here. So I have a Gunnera tinctoria in the corner there, an Aspidistra, which was a houseplant for quite a while, but these are very hardy where I am on the Wirral Peninsula. No issues at all. In fact, it's growing better than it ever did inside. I had a Colocasia down here. This is a Phyllostachys bessettii bamboo, which can in theory get to 4 or 5 meters tall, so that will offer a little bit of shelter and a little bit of privacy on the fence there. I have a magnolia here, grandiflora, and a hebe that I put in as a filler, but I really don't like, so that's going to come out. I did have this tree in there, this Areobatria japonica, but it wasn't doing very well, so I've since put it in a pot. It was getting battered by winds. What I'd like to do here is actually grow Tuna sinensis, sort of Chinese mahogany, and that will grow quite tall, potentially very tall, but I will keep it under control. And it's be deciduous here, but it will produce very long branches with sort of pinnate leaves on it and look quite tropical. And this is the other retaining wall here, which is basically just made of grease blocks topped with azobe, which is probably one of the hardest industrially used African hardwoods that you can get. I would never normally say to stick wood on top of brick, but this stuff is almost like concrete, very, very heavy, very robust, but I like the sort of aesthetic that it gives. And then on top of here I just have a Phormium, I think this is a yellow wave, Miscanthus sinensis morning light, which has been struggling away. My friend here has lost a wing in all of the storms we've had. Another grass over there, and in this one there is some cannas which have just gone over. Haven't had a huge amount of frost, but we've got some. So we'll come back around here, back to the path. I have just here an Albizia Julie Britton, which produces really nice pinnate. It's a bit acacia looking pinnate leaves. I haven't had the pink flowers yet. We've got Mahonia soft caress here, and down here we have Hibiscus syriacus. So I've not seen it flower, but I think it's going to be a purpley lilac, which I actually don't really want. I'd rather have something that's got whites or reds in it. This corner here is my jungle border. It's not huge, but then I don't have a huge amount of space, so I've created a reclaimed sandstone wall in the corner, and in here there is a Traphicarpus fortunei, standard windmill palm there, growing quite nicely in its second year. It's put on a good foot of trunk in the last year or so. Tetrapanax, which I grew from a very small plant, and it's now 4.5 feet tall. Just got killed by the frosts, but doing really well. This is probably overplanted, but you know, we'll see how it goes. I may need to cut some things back further. In the corner there is a Phyllostachys vivax aureocolus, Chinese golden timber bamboo, and that does have the potential to grow up to 8 meters in the UK. It's currently about 4.5. The leaves are completely dried out at the top. That's because we get salt-laden westerly winds from beyond the fence there. A couple of grasses here which I intend to potentially stick between the slabs and the path. Strawberry tree here, Arbutus unedo, which I would like to possibly plant the other side of that wall to start a kind of screening here and really zone this out. So this is the patio area, which probably will host the kids' 12-foot pool this summer. It's covered in white porcelain, though you wouldn't know it under all the sort of algae that's grown there. More Christmas tree shavings here being used as mulch. It's quite a good insulator, pretty good for that kind of thing. I've got some cannas that grow out of here. This here is my Butea odorata palm, one of the only feather palms that I have, but it's growing really well. If you can hear me over the seagulls, this is a catalpa. Deciduous, very large leaves, grows very quickly. Not sure what type it is. It was grown from seed by someone who gave it to me, so we'll see. I don't know if it's northern or southern. Apparently you can tell one or the other by how stinky the leaves are. Couldn't smell anything. Chocolate vine here as well, which actually hasn't lost all its leaves. And then in the corner here I have a Eucalyptus neglecta. This will be its 3rd year in 2025. It's growing quite quickly, got absolutely battered by the winds, but this in theory is going to provide a little bit of privacy and shelter here. This part of the fence to the left of me is right next to the road. Just here is a Callistemon splendens, produces really nice, it's the bottlebrush tree, grows really nice spiky red flowers, and in theory grows in similar conditions to the Eucalyptus Australasia in that area. Plenty of mess around here as well, which all needs to be tidied up. I've got lots of plant pots I'd like to fill with various things. Interestingly, the strawberries, they don't care about the winter, they've just carried on kind of growing away. So over here there's another Camerops humulus palm that I took from my dad as it was dying. Seems to be recovering, so that might be pretty good. And in there is another Phormium, which I'm hoping will grow quite nicely to fill that pot out. So just looking back again, back up, you can see how it drops from the top there to the middle and then down again. So I've tried to lean into that really where possible, and so you're kind of walking down into the jungle a little bit. I'd like to potentially put a sort of water feature here in the corner once that's all cleared out. Something not too deep, but something that just sort of babbles away. Basically always trying to compromise with the kids that want this space to play in. I'd plant this out more, but I'm going to try and get it to be in a decent state of lawn by summer 2025. The garden is essentially not surrounded by any trees or any shelter.